forget that you can also participate on the program by sending us your thoughts, your questions, or your comments to our email address at businessmorning@channelstv.com. It's businessmorning@channelstv.com. Now, in the month of January, we saw the oil share. In the month of February, the oil share index closed in a tight range of about 1.79%, a far cry from what we saw in January. January did about 8.5%. Now, according to ProShare February market report, economic volatility and heightened political risk are some of the issues that may drag on the market in the short term. Femi Awoyemi from ProShare Nigeria and our financial editor, Bruce Nomofai, are here to talk about it. Let me hand you over to Bruce and Femi. Bruce, over to you.
Femi, I guess it's going to be a massive mess of both of us.
No,
we need your intervention.
No, I'm here.
Let things get a little bit.
I'll stick around.
We'll talk about the body train.
I'm not sure about being trained, but I'll stick around.
Well, Femi, we just want to answer a few questions on some of these issues. Femi, we'll talk about the burning train. Things could get a little bit very, very unpleasant when you have a train that is burning with all kind of actors inside, whether they are passive or active, so everybody is a little uncomfortable. So the market reports that you pushed out a few hours ago, let me be more precise, it's a little bit more about the fact that quote unquote the country is burning, as it were, politically, economically, the markets also. Not actually in a meltdown, but we're not too sure where it's headed.
I can understand the burning train analogy, but I'm not so sure the country is burning. I think what the report shows us is that we may just take a deep breath and we're not yet out there. And simply put, in terms of technical analysis, we always try to use the 20-day, 50-day, 200 days moving averages to tell us the kind of patterns that are beginning to emerge. And we've been a little bit concerned that the rate of recovery, as expected in up to the whole Q1, has been slowed down. And then you'll find certain factors like you would expect by now, after almost close to 2 years of the market being in this mood, you would expect speculators to have been able to have been filtered out of the system. Or you still find more speculative activities going on.
My two question basically is that getting a very good sense of the big picture of where the market was in February. Yes, we'll talk about the technical analysis, but first, the big picture about the country's political leadership situation. You refer to that in the first three pages of this report. You talk about leadership issues and markets. So give us a sense of what you think leadership, what do you call leadership, lack of direction, leadership meltdown, who impacted the markets.
Look, as far back as 2009, when we issued the NCM report, it was clear to us that what we had was a very clear case of leadership meltdown across the regulatory function. A lot of things started to happen, and we began to see that if we did not deal with the operating environment in terms of what was going on in NSE, SEC, CBN, NICOM, and indeed the Ministry of Finance itself, we would basically lose out much more than others. That was the basis of that report. And then we expected that 2009 was going to be a year which we confronted most of those leadership issues. The CBN has done a significant part of that in terms of its engagement, but there's so much more to do. And until we deal with that, we will not be able to resolve some of the issues that are affecting liquidity, creating a nexus between the regulatory framework and the economic blueprint, as it were, having the harmonization of expectations. Because if you're not growing the economy, you cannot grow the market. And what happened to us in February was the accumulated effect of November 23, unaddressed, coming to a heightened state of uncertainty, and the market is much more reflective of the mood of the whole, and so investors are uncertain, and it's kind of like so how it would affect it. So when you even have some uptrends, there was just so much pessimism around. And you recall the last time we came together and we were talking about this, we focused more on the negative news. Now we have less of the negative news from the business cycle, or perhaps the preponderance of the negative news from the national issues overshadowed
the business and financial markets issues. Yeah, when we talk about leadership, right now you talk about the leadership issue in Securities and Exchange Commission. Newspaper reports yesterday about the change of guards, expected change of guards at the stock exchange. The Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, almost 6 months down the line when Gani Ogunleye left, there's no substantive managing director. The Minister of Finance hasn't done anything about it. A lot of breakback between the National Assembly and the Minister of Finance about what happens in SEC regarding the draft position of Udo Udoma as the chairman of SEC and the UACN as well. These are a number of issues. So topsy-turvy, and all this put together perhaps give you conclusions in this document that says, well, investors' confidence is still very soft, very fragile, and nobody can actually say what is going on.
You probably make a better analyst than me. I'll tell you the truth of the matter is that you can add one more thing to that list. And up to last week, you didn't even resolve your national leadership question. So those are the leadership questions you talk about. It goes to the central argument that we have a really huge leadership crisis. No one seems to be in charge. No one seems to know who is in charge. And I'm not just talking about the national issues in terms of our president. I'm talking about the market itself. Who's in charge of who's got his hand on the buttons within the financial market? It is interesting we make a comment about these issues because one of the key points I have observed is that, and you do know that we've taken a position in terms of corporate governance issues at SEC. And maybe I should use the opportunity to clarify that. It is not about the individual, Senator Dodo. It has nothing even to do with the fact that there is an undeniable acknowledgement of the fact that if there is an individual that best represents the public sector or the private sector, this man personifies it. For if you were sitting down at a meeting or anywhere, he can equally represent the public sector just as well as you would imagine that he was talking for you in the private sector. And to have such a person as the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, I believe is a plus. Now, this premise assumes also, therefore, that in the performance of his duty, irrespective of the directorship, because that was the standard that we could not imagine that it would be an issue. Because if he were an issue with others, he was such an individual that would learn how to separate it. And so you began to see that what basically became an issue for us was post-14th of August 2009, when the dynamics in the market changed, when the standard of care increased, when the demand for much more accountability was raised up. You and I worked on a project called the Bull in the China Shop, and on August 22nd released a report questioning how the appearance of a director of a quoted company and the chairman of SEC may not, within the context of the discussion being had then about enhanced corporate governance regime, be seen. And the matter was left there. When on January 6th, the UACN made the announcement that he had become the chairman, it still didn't become an issue because it was just a fiduciary thing. If you are a director, you're there. Then it became an issue when UAC left out deliberately the fact that he was chairman of SEC.
In the media reports, the press release. Which
all newspaper use. Now the question is that the SEC chairmanship is not a footnote. It is a main item. And if you do therefore deliberately leave it out, it is an acknowledgement therefore that you do know that it has the appearance of a conflict of interest or a conflict of role. Then therefore, the question will have to be made that if you know why is something not being done, mind you, SEC itself does not have the corporate code of governance with which it operates. Then itself there was a clear issue we needed to cross. Subsequently, the CBN governor now made certain categorical statements to clarify the issue concerning corporate governance by saying that if you were a governor, if you were a director of CBN, ABC, and BSC. And so for us, it became much more important. Also, at the same time, SEC was trying to introduce corporate governance rules for quoted companies. Without further, you cannot do that if you cannot sort it out yourself.
The SEC had an essential report they are supposed to, rework the internal arrangements of the SEC itself. Nigeria Stock Exchange had the same thing. Then they alluded to Sulaiman report, which Sulaiman